Welcome back to Tries and Pies, where we talk all about triathlons and eat some pie.
Oh, whoa. That sounded really great.
Oh, thank you.
I'm Kim, and this is
Amy.
Today we're tackling one of the biggest challenges for any triathlete, finding the perfect balance between training, work, and family life. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've got some stories to share on this.
Yes, we do.
Training for triathlons takes time, but that doesn't mean your life has to revolve around it.
Yep.
And I think if it did, then you probably would crash and this isn't going to work for you.
Exactly.
So we're going to talk a little bit about time management, how to make training fit into your life, training smart, how to maximize the efficiency, and also how to keep the balance long term.
Yes. Ooh, that's an interesting one. We'll get into that too. There's some, yeah. And of course, we're taste testing 2 cherry pies today along the way. And let's dig in. So let's talk about time management first. So how to structure training around work and family commitments. And that's interesting for you because you are a kind of a new mom still.
Yeah.
So tell me about your cute little baby boy who I love.
Well, Noble's 2.5 now.
Dang.
But I think a huge thing that is part of triathlon when you make that commitment, you have to know you're committing to some time. And you also, the longer the race, I think you really need to get your family on board.
Oh, big time.
So when I got pregnant with Noble, I found out 2 weeks after I had signed up for a full distance Ironman, which I will tell you, I had multiple conversations with my husband. Is this the right time? You know, there's going to be a lot of hours that I'm just not going to be available doing this. And we both said, yep, let's do it. It's a good time. We'll invest. I mean, it's not cheap to do it either.
No.
So you really want to make sure that you can dedicate yourself to doing it. Both of us agree that anyone could do triathlons.
Yes.
If you put in the time and effort to train for what you're doing, you can finish that race.
Yep.
But you do have to put forth the effort, especially in those disciplines that you might not exceed.
Right.
For me, most of the time, I try to do my training when everyone is sleeping.
Yep.
Because it means I don't miss out on any of the things. Occasionally, at this point, if I'm going for a run, it's either going to be super early in the morning, but if I want to go outside, I typically try to do it during a nap time or just when I know we don't have a ton going on, just because I love doing triathlons, but I don't want to miss life with my family.
So big reminder to people that want to even start to this adventure. I try to remind people that we're not getting paid for this, that this is a hobby, and that you really need to prioritize what's important. And that kind of brings us into what workout do you skip if you have to skip a workout? Because you don't want to say no, a lot of times. You don't want to miss time you're never going to get back again. And that's something that I learned by doing things wrong. I was so invested in my first Ironman training that I used to tell my kids no, and they were 10 and 8. I mean, they were in travel sports, and I never missed a sporting event. So I can say that, but there were a lot of times where I was like, no, I got to ride my bike today for 6 hours. And I look back at that and I'm just like, what the heck was I thinking? But you also, us A-type personalities,
Yeah.
when we say we're going to do something, not only are we going to do it, we're going to do it like hardcore. At the end of the day, we're just trying to stay healthy and get through these races.
How many times I say to you, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah, you did.
I
say that a lot.
don't have the time for this. I shouldn't be doing this right now. But there was also times where you're like, Amy, if you don't do this 3-hour workout today, let's make it fit in your schedule somewhere else.
So that gets actually into an interesting conversation about, so you're a swimmer, always been a swimmer. I've basically always been a runner. turned into a biker. Basically, it was a better biker than I was a runner even. So it's, if you are going to miss a workout, for you, for instance, it was, Amy, you can swim in your sleep. So if you're going to miss a workout, miss a swim, because it's not going to make the world a difference. For me, if I was going to miss a workout, I couldn't miss the swim because I suck at it. And I just try not to drown.
Yeah, there was multiple times where I was like, oh my gosh, Noble was up half the night. I got no sleep. And you'd be like, you need sleep.
Yeah.
Because once you start training on no sleep, then you're going to get sick or injured. And then
You're
what
out
happens?
for
Then you're out for
even a
longer.
week. Yeah.
So there's a fine balance in there. I mean, I don't think I ever go into a week saying I'm going to skip this workout and this workout and this workout.
That's not
good. But there's certain circumstances that come up where you have to make the decision of, is this workout, and I think this from you, is this workout really going to benefit me in the end, or am I just doing it to go through the motion and it's actually going to have a negative effect at the end of the day?
Yeah. To get that green box on Training Peaks.
Yes. But, hey, I did it.
Yeah. But communicating even with the family and setting the expectation of what is this going to be like, and having a family and a husband especially, and children who are in travel sports, it's a lot, and nobody knows what you're getting into until you're deep thick into it. And having the understanding that everybody has to be on board. There's no half-assing, like, I support you, but. No, I support you, but. And I feel like that, too, is the part where you 100% have to be on the same page when it comes to your family. It definitely, if you have a family and if you have a partner, anything, it has to be a full-on blown, we need to sit down and talk about this, because it is a time commitment. Speaking of balance...
Let's see if this first cherry pie balances out flavor and texture.
Yes! Give me pie! I want pie!
This is going to be interesting because I'm not a huge cherry pie person.
You know what? This is going to be a little too much information, but I'm kind of afraid because cherries give me gas like you wouldn't believe.
Well, good thing I'm going home. Lainey, have fun. All right, so we're tasting fried cherry pie.
Ooh.
From Country
Lane Bakery.
From Country Lane Bakery. All right, are we just grabbing it and biting it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh.
I like it.
I do like it.
It's soft. It's
yummy.
So since I'm not a huge cherry pie person, I think this is like a perfect way to have cherry pie.
I like that it's not super, super sweet. I feel like they're almost like those sour cherries that are in here.
Yeah. It's very refreshing.
Yeah, they did a nice job. Okay.
Good work.
How to make your workouts count instead of just adding more training hours. So, this is a very interesting topic. Because as you progress through the Ironman training schedule, you're going to be getting into the longer ride. So obviously when you start in the beginning, you're not going to be training for 16 hours a week. You're going to be training, for however many hours. But probably the most important thing is quality over quantity. Yeah, if that means waking up a little bit earlier to get stuff done, or you just go super hard on a workout one day where you're supposed to ride 4 hours, but can't get 4 hours in today. So I have you do a super hard 2-hour workout instead of a 4-hour steady workout.
I was a distance trainer. Like, okay, I need to run 3 miles today. Next week I need to run 4 miles next weekend. And the Ironman completely shifted that into, no, you're not running 5 miles today. You're running an hour and a half. And this is what you're doing during that hour and a half.
Right.
It was completely different than just going out and running, which completely makes sense as a swimmer because I never just get in the water and just say, I'm going to swim 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Even if I go in and I've done the 100 challenge to get 10,000 yards in a pool, it's very boring. But
Lots of flip
instead
turns.
of just getting in the water and just swimming 100 100s, I remember my coach literally made me a 10,000 yard workout and said, do this so that you're actually working your body out and training it in a way versus just getting in the pool and swim.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing from my coaches in all aspects that I've learned is just going out and doing the same thing over and over and over you're not going to see any changes. You might build up a little bit of endurance here or there because you're training your body to do the same thing over and over and over. But if you want to see improvement, it's really a matter of structured workouts and doing something a little bit more than just saying, hey, I'm gonna go run 5 miles or I'm gonna ride my bike for an hour.
But then that also brings us into cross-training methods, things, anything. Like if you know that you have to even do an hour workout, I would sometimes go run on my lunch break. Mm-hmm. And even if I could get 20 minutes in, then I get 20 minutes in, and then when I get home, I only have to run 40 minutes. So people forget about that too. If you need to break up your run to a 20-minute during your lunch break, 40-minute when you get home, if that's what makes sense to you, you got an hour of running on your feet. It's time on your feet, regardless of how you look at it.
Yeah, it was actually nice for me mentally because as soon as you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to run 3 hours, it's a lot easier to say, okay, I'm going to wake up early, get 2 hours out of the way, and then all I need to do is run for an hour when I get home. Yes. So I actually like being able to break up.
There's some discrepancy in that too, is breaking up your long runs. There's a lot of arguments out there about whether or not you get the same effect or don't get the same effect. So it's personal preference too. Running for 3 hours straight not only messes you up mentally sometimes you lose focus, you lose form, you get negative headspace, which then tells you can't do it, which then is a wonderful effect of, domino effect of saying, this is terrible, why am I doing this? I do have an amazing little, and I don't know that I did this with you. Did I make you name your inner saboteur?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I never did, but you got Gus going on.
I have Gus going on. My inner saboteur's name is Gus. I make all my peeps name their inner saboteur. Just as a reminder of this is just your brain telling you that you can't do it, not physically or mentally. And I feel like as much as you can reduce the inner saboteur coming out, the better. And so going for a 3-hour run straight or doing 2 90-minute runs, end of the day, it's really not going to make, that's just my personal opinion. It's not going to make that much of a difference. So that brings us into a great talking about long bricks and 3-hour bike rides is the rest and recovery part. So the answer is always listen to your body, and it's always going to be take a rest day.
Us being triathletes have a very hard time to say, you need to not do something versus saying, oh my gosh, I'm so lazy.
And it's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay to say, today's just not my day. It's not going to happen today.
Yes.
For whatever reason, it doesn't even have to be that you don't feel good or you have an injury. If you just wake up one day and you're like, you know what? Listen to your body and your cues. I'm super fatigued. Rest. Take the day. Because it's so easy to get burnt out. When you're working full-time, you're a mom full-time, you have everybody grabbing you from every direction. Oh, and then let me throw in a 4-hour bike ride. And then the next day, let's throw in a 2-hour run at the end of, all that stuff. And you just have to listen to what your body is telling you. Mm-hmm. Don't train when you're sick. Like, just don't do it. It's just not.
You're just gonna get sicker.
You're gonna get here. It's gonna take longer for you to get over the sickness. Mm-hmm. And there's so many people out there and so many groups. All these clubs that are out there that you have all the people that are doing all these things but they trained when they were sick. But they did this when they were sick. But they did that when they were injured. How about the people that, have a broken foot and they do an Ironman? How is that even, how does it make that make sense?
And how's your foot now?
Exactly. Right.
It's permanently damaged? Good for you. How do you feel about that?
But you finished that Ironman on a broken foot. Good job.
And now you can't sign up for another one.
Exactly.
Ever.
At the end of the day, always rest and recover. All right, now let's see if our second cherry pie is as efficient as our training tips.
need utensils, so let me grab utensils.
Look at that. Today's cherry pie is from Grand Traverse Pie Company. It's supposed to be the best cherry pie around. Okay. Yeah. That's a good pie.
This is totally different than the other one.
Totally different than the other one. See now yeah.
But like not in a bad way.
This one has that crumbly top, which almost adds it like an apple pie kind of. Really buttery. This one's not super sweet either.
No. I don't have much to say on this one.
I don't think there's anything bad to say about it.
The cherries, do you ever had a cherry pie where it's just like oozing like jelly cherry?
Like fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like canned cherry stuff that somebody just shoved in a pie crust.
This is like I don't want to say they soaked the cherries, but it's almost like the cherries became part of the pie. The cherries are very soft.
That's
and
good.
it's like, let me just shove. Pie crust though is just so good. All right, so this is going to be an interesting segment because I think both you and I have been doing triathlons long enough to just see how they've evolved in our own life and our own timeline.
And we've aged. I mean, I started doing triathlons 12 years ago. Big difference in life stages in general. And people forget. Sometimes the answer is you're just getting old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard sometimes for especially athletes or people that things just start hurting more.
You're hard on your body.
Really, especially in long endurance sports. And speaking of, you gave birth, so you're recovering from that. I was diagnosed with cancer, went through cancer, totally different athlete after going through all that even. My body went through extreme trauma. Your body goes through extreme trauma with pregnancy. Sometimes you just don't bounce back. And that's a really hard pill to swallow. Your ego is... A lot of people think that they don't have an ego, but you just don't recognize that you have an ego. You don't acknowledge it.
Right. Well, we both met, I think, right when we were starting doing triathlons.
Yes.
I went into triathlons to really focus on my health and my fitness. That was the reason why I was doing this. I was single. I honestly had all the time in the world outside of work to just travel on the weekends, run in the morning, run in the evening, go to there's a biking group, sure, I'll be there. You know, anything I could do triathlon, it was easy for me to commit and do it. And at the time, it was fun. That was literally my life was committed to doing triathlon. And those were the people that I hung out with.
And you didn't have the
I didn't have a baby. Outside of... Like, the tri community was what became my family.
As you progress through your life, though, look at how different it is.
Yeah, right? It definitely went from, okay, I'm really good at this. I want to take this a little more seriously. But at that part, that's when I started getting really hard on myself. But yeah, I'd get upset not getting my time. And it got to the point where I think I was overtraining. I was doing too much and kept thinking, why am I not performing better? Because I'm putting in the work, I'm training, I'm doing all the things. But I think it actually was hurting me in the end. And I got to the point where I told my friends, I'm retiring from running. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And I went strictly to aqua bikes because my running was going downhill. I was feeling injured. I was tired. I had hit the burnout.
Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't fun anymore.
And that's a great thing that you even recognize that. So I was, as you know, was training for a marathon here next weekend. And about 2 weeks ago, I talked to my coach, who is the most amazing human being ever. And I said, it's not fun. And it wasn't about a fun thing for me. Not training is not always fun. Are you supposed to enjoy what you're doing? 100%. But fun, I don't know. But I was waking up every day after my long runs with terrible pains, like in my whole body that I've never experienced before, constantly wobbling around. And I'm just saying to myself, why am I doing this? Just so I said that I ran another marathon? Like that's what's different about the life stages, right? I would have never recognized that I didn't want to do this race back then because you're just so bullheaded too. I mean, think of how much we've grown in our 12 years since our first one, just character-wise, like just personality-wise, we've just changed so much. And I would have never been able to see the signs or might get over my ego if I just said, this just isn't for me. And I remember my coach telling me just recently, he was like, Kim, I don't think that this is I need to tell you to suck it up, buttercup bullshit. I think that this is really you just recognizing that this just isn't, it's just not the time right now. So I canceled everything. And the second that I did that, huge relief off my shoulders.
And it's not that you just were like, I'm done. I mean, you're still waking up.
I'm still doing everything.
Swam.
I did swim today. But I'm still running. I'm still doing strength training. I'm still doing all that stuff. It's just burnout. You got to recognize when you just need a break and not just do a race because you said you were going to do it. And it's okay to not do it. It's okay. And I feel like in this, especially in the triathlon world, well, any endurance sport, any like basically group sport, I feel like there's just so much pressure. Well, you can't, what are people going to think of you? What are going to people think of you? What do you mean you're not doing the race? I'm just not doing it. And cancer actually was the biggest, for me, wake up call where you just don't know when you're going to get that call or when you're going to, something bad's going to happen traumatic wise. And you just have to take life and just live it. And if you don't want to live your life running 6 hours on a Saturday, then you just don't.
Yeah.
You know.
And if you want to, then do it.
Right. There's nothing. There's not a bad answer to either one of those.
Yeah, and I think some of that too goes along the. Are you having fun doing it? And who are you doing it with? The first year when I was doing things with Try to Finish, and shout out to Andy every single time we
Always
mention.
Andy.
I met a really solid group of triathletes who became some of my best friends.
I always have a line which I love. A simple hello can lead to a million things. So make sure you say hi to somebody.
I'm glad you said hi.
I know.
I think you probably said hi to me.
I think I did.
Because I probably was like, she scares me. She's really good on the bike. Well, at the end of the day, triathlon training is all about finding the right balance. Just like the perfect pie.
Ooh. Speaking of the perfect pie, it's time to declare a winner! Ooh, this one's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
I like the first one.
I was gonna say, I like the fried pie.
I like the empanadas.
The empanadas.
Sorry, Grand Traverse. Yours was wonderful. Really good pie, but I think I liked the fried dough.
There was just something about the dough around it. So
yeah.
maybe they cheated a little because it's technically a fried empanada, but
I suppose,
it said
pie.
Well, that's it for today's episode. Be sure to join us next time for Fueling the Race.
Ooh, really important. Also known as the fourth discipline, which people don't give enough credit to how important fueling for your races.
You mean I can't just eat Oreos the entire time?
Oh gosh, you can actually. Oreos is an okay source.
I feel like I would throw up.
Oh, we'll talk about that next week.
Wow, we're eating pecan. Do you say pecan or
pecan? I say pecan. There's a lot of people that say pecan, which pecan just sounds weird to me. Like pecan what? Like Pete can. Anyway, we'll see you next time on Tries and Pies. Remember, stay salty.
And sweet.
No, you just stole my line. All right, take two. Start over. Like, don't hit me, Lainey. I'll go into you because you are the one with the new child.
This is going nowhere and is making no sense at this point.
It's okay.
So,
I think you're all right.
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I'm on the same page, so we'll, make a little shift. Pause.
Cut.
Danger.